Hello, my name is Shawna Finley, and I am doing a project for my teacher, my English professor in telecommunications. My field of study is in accounting. I am going for a 2-year AA degree. The first thing you need to know for being in accounting is the responsibilities at a firm that you will be held accountable for. First thing you will need to know is how to run your company records and make sure they're ran efficiently. The second thing you need to possess is make sure your taxes are paid. Paying your taxes is very important to make sure your company is not audited. Make sure your business is compliant with federal and state regulations. Also, you will need to record expenses and the revenue of the company. These 4 things are one of the specifics that they require that you do for responsibilities while in your company. The next thing you need to learn is what your skills are. What type of skills you need to possess. The first thing you will need to do is have computer skills. Be familiar with the business systems. Having analytical abilities and aptitude for mathematics. Interpret and compare facts very quickly. Mathematics is very important while in your field of study for accounting. Having ethical standards is also very important. Communication and teamwork. During your career as an accountant, you will need to have communication and teamwork, so your management and your team is always aware of other things going on in your company. Next, we have what education you will need. First, accountants and auditors, they have to have a bachelor degree in accounting or related fields, because auditors are more advanced than just bookkeepers. Because like accounting clerks and bookkeepers, they only need an associate's degree or a diploma from a junior college or technical school. Subfields that you might want to consider going into accounting is very wide and broad. One of them is an auditor, which needs the bachelor degree. Then you have the bookkeeper, which is the 2-year degree in AA. Payroll accountant is only a 2-year. Cost accountant is also only 2 years. Tax accountant is also 2 years. These are your fields that you might want to consider. Once again, it's auditor, bookkeeping, payroll accountant, cost accountant, or tax accountant. And tax accountant is basically doing people's taxes. Salaries. This looks pretty good to me. A salary, if you start out at the beginning, you're going to look at about $32,000. But as you grow in many years, like I think anywhere from 5 on up, you start making into the $50,000 a year. This is a graph that shows you exactly. You also get bonuses and profit sharing, which profit sharing is almost like a retirement. So when you want to retire, you put in to what your retirement is. This is just some of the salaries. It breaks down next on the page. Pay per hour. 1 to 4 years, as you can see, you start off as an accountant if you have 1 year experience making $10 an hour. And that can go up to $22 an hour if you get in between the range of 1 to 4, which this is a graph that shows you exactly this is 1 to 4 years, and it goes up to 5 to 9, then 10 to 19, and 20 years or more. Your 5 to 9 years, you start off at about $13 an hour, depending on what firm you work for and exactly what your responsibilities are of what your pay will be. And then you have your 10 to 19 years. You can make up to $29 an hour. And of course, once you're getting into the retire state, you're making pretty big bucks at $34 an hour. So this is just your salaries, a breakdown of what you make annually and what you make per hour. This is one of the places I have considered working. It's for the IRS. The staff is $114,000 It processes, the strength of this processes like 205 million tax returns. That's a lot of work, and it requires a lot of staff. So being an IRS employee is a place where you can advance. And it's also a U.S. federal government industry. So if you work for the government, you get great benefits. Some of the issues in the news that is due to the accountant field. In the fall of 2012, statistics of income bulletin now available. This is just showing you basically exactly what's all included in working for the IRS and how much taxes they have to go through and what people in the United States make and what the taxes pay back. It says nearly 145 million individual income tax returns were filed for 2010. That is an increase of 1.7% from 140.5 million returns filed for 2009. So the adjusted gross income reported these returns totaled $8.1 trillion. That is just it's astronomical if you ask me. The increase was 6.1% from the previous year. Corporate culture. This is some of the pros for being an accountant working for the IRS. Working for the IRS, you get a very flexible schedule. So if you have kids, this would be ideal for you and a family. You also get great benefits, which medical isn't cheap. So medical and dental would be an area to look at too. It's also a manageable workload. Because the IRS has so many employees, you don't get overworked. You also get support from your coworkers and your management team. There's a place for advancement, and it's a laid-back environment. I think these are pretty decent pros to work at the IRS. But to every pro, there is a con. The work environment is challenging. Moving around reorganizations is also a con. Competitive, the more experience you have, the more availability of your job placement is going to be. Experience is needed, and it can be stressful because of the many returns that you have to deal with. So these are just a few of the pros and cons, which you might want to weigh out and see if it's more exciting to try this or something else. Here's an interesting issue I found. St. Louis University sues Medtronic for $7 million in royalties. This was a story basically based on accounting fraud. And if you were an accountant, this is a reason why we have auditors, because they can go in and make sure the company is run right and make sure everyone is getting their fair share. Accounting fraud. This was done by Medical Device Daily Staff Reports. St. Louis University used a packed accounting method threat school. It did it It used a packed accounting methods to cheat school out of $7 million in royalties for surgical navigation and imaging technology licenses. St. Louis University signed a contract with Step Technologies, providing school with 2.33% royalties. Now, St. Louis University brought in Price Waterhouse Cooper to perform an audit of royalty payment. And this is why auditors need a 4-year degree, because you have to search through all the paperwork and get back the systems in order. Because when you do money, money has to be to the exact penny. And if it's not to the exact penny, it throws off everything else. This is why it takes so many years to become an accountant. The next thing was Medtronic. This is what they calculated royalties under the agreement at 2.33% of transfer price. Medtronic didn't do that. Rather, they did not sell the royalties for the net selling price. invoice to customers. Instead, they lowered it so that they could gain the profit instead of paying back their debt. The St. Louis University claimed Medtronic's international transaction details were not in format to allow PwC to see if there were any discrepancies. So St. Louis had to call in the powerhouse of Cooper to fix what was going on at the Medtronics to be able to get their money so that they could claim what they had agreed on. They had a contract, and therefore they was not supposed to break their contract. Medtronic then later changed their format of its quarterly royalty reports after the audit and began to list total sales price were much more higher than prices listed. They tried to shave off a few dollars here and there and pour more money into their company instead of paying back what they owed the St. Louis University. So this is what the auditors do. They come in there, they straighten it out so that people that use fraud and take money have to work it out, and then now they have to pay that back. So it's better just to keep your system running regularly so you do not get audited. This is why a lot of companies have bookkeepers and auditors come in so that their sales match everything that they, like the food cost or the supplies, whatever it is your company is. This is why you have a bookkeeper and an accountant, because they match every penny to everything, and that's way the companies stay running. There were damages because of this. There was the damages for the Medtronic calculated from underpaid royalties due to inaccessible data. The school estimated that they owed the $7 million in damages. So therefore, Medtronic has to pay this. Has to pay the St. Louis University this all back. I think an overview of this whole project showed me that due to accounting, auditors corrected and that the money was caught. So Medtronic was corrected for fraud. Had there not been auditors and people that could come in and look through all your paperwork, because even in a company, you have to have files or computer systems, whatever it is that shows everything, that money going in, money going out, wherever it's coming from, it has to be on record and on file. So when auditors and accountants come in, they can make sure every system is in order. That's why companies have to have a paper trail. My opinion is accountants hold together the business and keep the money straight. Many accountants work together. Like when you do taxes, taxes are the main thing. If you do not be in compliance with the IRS, you could get audited and therefore have to pay money back. You could even go to jail. So I think it's very important for accountants to hold the company together because they keep every penny straight. They're very intelligent with mathematics, which holds the company. The money holds the company together. My conclusion is, accountants are needed to protect the business. The reason I decided to become an accountant was because I love mathematics. I love watching things grow, and I love watching things add up. So, in my conclusion, I am very proud to be going for my 2-year degree as an accountant. I would like to do taxes, and also I would like to become a bookkeeper of a company. So this is why I chose to be an accountant. This is my works cited page, and I used the academic search on the database of Santa Fe Community College. I would like to thank you for your time for listening to my speech. I hope it helped you, and I hope that being an accountant is one of your dreams also.